So when he leaves Arabia and he comes back to Damascus, I believe whatever was going on, or if I do wish to boast, I will not be foolish, for I will be speaking the truth. But I refrain from this so that no one will credit me with more than he sees in me or hears from me. And Paul says, I could boast about all the greatness that has been done through me, but it would do no good. Because my words need to be heard that Christ is the King. And then it's really interesting, he goes on to describe the thorn in the flesh, right? This is not something Paul received later in life. He received this immediately. I mean, the way he describes this, and I think that's why we really can allude this to Arabia and where he was, is he describes something that he will deal with for the rest of his life. Paul will be faced with this thorn that will cause him to suffer and cause him to be in agony. And he prays 3 times, take this away. And God says, I'm sufficient. I'm enough. And part of that may have been the persecution of the Christians. Part of that thorn in the flesh may have been, he's in Arabia and he's thinking and he's contemplating all of these things that he's done to these Christians. And then he's going to go back and he's going to change things. And I see that all of this is nothing that Paul did. It's what God did through him. It's the same thing that he does through us. And it is a great encouragement to know that if he can do this with Paul, who persecuted Christians, who chose to try and imprison them and put them to death, what can he do with those who wouldn't do such a thing? Those who would desire to do his will. What can he do with us? It's unstoppable. It's profound for all of us as Christians. It should take away our fear, take away our doubt, and take away our fear of actually trying to help people. Because if God can do this with a man who would kill his people, what can he do with me? What can he do with you? In just the simple, in the greatest place we could be as Christians in this country, the greatest place. We've never seen persecution, not like what Paul did. We've never seen, famine, not like what Paul did when he's in Thessalonica. He's talking about the famine and he's dealing with those things. He says, I went hungry, I was shipwrecked, I was torn to pieces by beasts. We won't see that. How great is it to know that God has put us in a place where we can take that power and that strength of his word without fear. It is a joy. And so we think about Paul, and I think there's a lot missing in Acts there that we can piece together through Galatians and through 2 Corinthians and see that something happened in Paul that we miss in Acts that really, really changed his life. Really, just not only did the conversion, as people saw it, but when he comes back to Damascus, we'll go back to the text. Paul kept increasing in strength, Acts chapter 9, verse 22, confounding the Jews who lived at Damascus by proving that Jesus is Christ. And when many days had elapsed, and I think that's that gap where he's in Arabia, the Jews plotted together to do away with him. But their plot became known to Saul, and they were also watching the gates by day and night, so that they might put him to death. But his disciples took him by night and led him down through the window, the opening of the walls, lowering him in a large basket. What does that remind you of? Anybody remember a story about a basket? Moses? Well, that is definitely another story about a basket. What about the spies? Remember the spies? As they were in the city of Jericho, and they let them down the side wall. So we have this I was going to go look at that king. Now I forgot where it was. Oh. Was that 2 buzzers? It was 2 buzzers. All right. Well, we will pick up right there. I will talk about this king that is actually that surrounded the city in the text. He's come to. That's the kind of the part that I'm confused with. Why would a king surround a city to keep someone in when he would have the authority to lock and keep people from leaving? So I think that's the conflict I might have in understanding who this king is and what he's doing there. We'll pick up right there in Acts chapter 9, and we'll start at 22. Thank you for your time.